The whistle pierced the air like a knife through my chest, and I froze mid-stride on the dew-kissed grass of Elmwood High's football field. "Get off my turf, newbie," Coach Harlan bellowed, his face redder than the team helmets scattered like fallen soldiers. In that instant, as the entire squad turned to stare, laughing, whispering, their eyes slicing into me like cleats on turf, I knew I'd come to this godforsaken Midwest town chasing a dream that was already dying. I was Alex Rivera, 17 and fresh off a cross-country move from the sun-baked streets of Tucson to this flat, cornfield-choked corner of Ohio. Dad's new job at the auto plant had uprooted us, leaving me with nothing but a duffel bag, a faded photo of Mom smiling before the cancer took her, and a burning need to prove I belonged somewhere. Football had been my anchor back home, late-night drills under streetlights, the roar of crowds that drowned out the whispers about the fairy, who ran like the wind. But here I was just the Mexican kid with the accent that still tripped over vowels, the outsider who showed up to tryouts with cleats too scuffed and a heart too exposed. That first rejection stung, but it was the second that hollowed me out. A week later after school, I lingered by the locker room, towel slung over my shoulder like a white flag. The air smelled of sweat and liniment, the kind of raw masculine fog that made my stomach twist with equal parts longing and fear. I pushed open the door, heart hammering, only to find the team circling up for their inner circle huddle. Jake Harlan, coach's golden boy, quarterback with a cannon arm and a smile that could melt steel, spotted me first. His blue eyes, sharp as a fresh-cut field, flicked over me, and for a split second, I thought I saw something flicker there. Curiosity? Pity? Or was it the same spark I'd felt when our gazes locked during tryouts, his hand steadying me after I fumbled a pass? "Rivera," he said, voice low and steady like he was calling a play. The room went quiet. "Coach said no. You ain't ready." The words landed like a blindside tackle. I swallowed hard, tasting bile. "I can run routes better than half these guys. Give me a shot, man. Just one." Laughter rippled through the group, coarse and cutting. Brody, the linebacker with a neck like a tree trunk and a chip on his shoulder the size of Lake Erie, shoved me lightly, too lightly to bruise but enough to remind me of my place. "Go back to flipping burgers, essay. This ain't soccer." I backed out, cheeks burning, the door slamming behind me like a final judgment. Outside, the autumn sun dipped low, painting the sky in bruised purples and oranges. I slumped against the chain-link fence, fists clenched until my knuckles whitened. Why did it always come to this? The isolation, the walls I built just to keep from shattering. Back in Tucson, I'd hidden my truth deep. Kisses stolen in shadowed alleys with a boy from art class. Dreams of a life where love didn't mean exile. Here, in this town where Friday nights revolved around pigskin and piety, I felt like a ghost haunting my own skin. But ghosts don't quit. I showed up anyway. Every practice, every scrimmage, I'd jog the perimeter, tossing a ball against the bleachers until my arms screamed. The team noticed, whispers turned to side eyes, Brody's jabs to reluctant nods. And Jake. God, Jake. He'd linger after drills, pretending to tie his laces while watching me throw. Once he even tossed me a spare water bottle, our fingers brushing just long enough to send electricity crackling up my arm. "Keep at it, Rivera," he'd mutter, that half-smile tugging at his lips like a secret he wasn't sure he wanted to keep. It was that smile that hooked me, reeling me in despite the barbs. Jake was everything this town idolized. 6'2" of farm boy muscle, hair the color of sun-bleached wheat, a voice that carried over the roar of engines at the county fair. His dad was Coach, the high school legend who'd led Elmwood to state semis twice. Jake was the heir apparent, the straight-A senior bound for Ohio State on a full ride. But beneath the Letterman jacket and the easy charisma, I sensed fractures, nights he spent staring at the stars instead of celebrating wins, a hesitation in his laugh that spoke of burdens too heavy for broad shoulders. Our first real conversation happened on a rainy Tuesday, the kind of downpour that turned the fields to mud pies and canceled practice. I was in the equipment shed, sorting pads like a penance when the door creaked open. Jake ducked in, shaking water from his hair like a golden retriever. "Hiding out?" he asked, leaning against a stack of cones. "Volunteering," I shot back, not looking up. "Figured if I can't play, I can at least not be dead weight." He chuckled low and warm, crossing his arms. Rain drummed on the tin roof, a rhythm that matched the thud of my pulse. You're not dead weight, Alex. You're persistent. That's something. I risked a glance. His shirt clung to his chest, translucent in the dim light, outlining the ridges of muscle I'd tried not to notice. Persistent or stupid? Both. He stepped closer, picking up a football and spinning it in his hands. Toss me a pass? For fun. We played then in that cramped space, short, sharp throws that echoed off the walls. Mud tracked in on our shoes, laughter bubbling up when I nailed him square in the gut. For an hour the world narrowed to us. The spin of leather, the slap of palms, the way his eyes lit when I anticipated his cut. It felt like freedom, like the first breath after drowning. You've got talent, he said finally, breathless, wiping sweat from his brow. Why'd you move here anyway? Tucson sounds like paradise. Dad's job. Mom's gone, cancer 2 years back. The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered. I braced for pity, but he just nodded like he understood the weight of loss. My mom left when I was 10. Said Dad's yelling scared her. He tossed the ball lightly, caught it. Football's all I've got. Keeps the noise out. In that moment something shifted. Vulnerability hung between us, fragile as a pass in the wind. I wanted to reach out, trace the line of his jaw, tell him he didn't have to carry it alone. But the door banged open, Brody bellowing for Jake, and the spell shattered. Later, Rivera, Jake said, clapping my shoulder. His touch lingered warm through my shirt, and I wondered if he felt it too. The pull, the danger, the undeniable gravity. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of rejection and stolen glances. I'd catch Jake watching from the sidelines during water breaks, his expression unreadable. The team warmed to me in fits and starts. Brody even let me join pickup games in the park, grumbling about making me useful. But the undercurrent was always there. The slurs muttered under breaths, the way lockers slammed a little too hard when I changed. I kept my head down, my heart locked tight. Until homecoming week, when the air crackled with anticipation and the bonfire lit secrets in the night. The pep rally was a circus, cheerleaders flipping under floodlights, the band blaring Sweet Caroline off-key. I stood at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed, feeling like an extra in someone else's movie. Then Jake vaulted onto the makeshift stage, mic in hand, rallying the team with a speech that had the whole gym stomping. This year's ours, Elmwood. We're unbreakable. His voice boomed, but his eyes found mine in the sea of faces, holding just a beat too long. My stomach flipped. After, as the crowd spilled into the parking lot, he cornered me by my beat-up Ford. Ride with me to the bonfire? Dad's got me chauffeuring half the line. I hesitated, keys biting into my palm. Sure. Why not? The drive was 10 minutes of small talk laced with subtext, stories of epic fumbles, dreams of college scouts. His truck smelled like pine air freshener and leather, the radio humming low with Springsteen. At the bonfire, flames licked the sky, casting shadows that danced like accusations. We grabbed beers from a cooler, stolen probably, settling on a log away from the main pack. The heat warmed my face, but it was Jake's proximity that set me ablaze. His knee brushing mine, accidental at first, then not. You ever feel like you're playing a role? He asked suddenly, staring into the fire. Sparks popped, mirroring the tension coiling in my gut. All the time, I admitted. Like, who am I if I'm not the guy who throws the perfect spiral? Or something else. He turned, face gilded in orange light. Something else. My throat tightened. The words hovered, treacherous. Yeah, like the parts you hide so no one sees the real you. Silence stretched, thick as smoke. Then softly, I see you, Alex. Our eyes locked and the world tilted. His hand found mine in the dark, fingers intertwining with a gentleness that belied his strength. It was a touch that said everything: fear, desire, defiance. I leaned in, heart thundering, and our lips met in a kiss that tasted of bonfire ash and forbidden hope. Soft at first, tentative, then deepening as the flames roared approval. His free hand cupped my neck, pulling me closer, and for those endless seconds Elmwood faded away. There was only us, two boys stealing a piece of forever from the night. But forever's a lie in a town like this. We pulled apart, breathless, foreheads touching. This, us, he whispered. It's gotta stay quiet. Dad. The team. I know. I squeezed his hand, memorizing the calluses from gripping that ball. But it's real, Jake. That's enough for now. It wasn't. The next day, practice was hell, mudslick fields, coach's tirades echoing like thunder. I threw myself into drills, earning a grudging "not bad, kid" from Brody. Jake avoided my eyes, but when we collided during a tackle drill, bodies slamming, breaths mingling, he murmured, "Tonight. Backfield. After lights out." I nodded, adrenaline surging. That night, under a canopy of stars, we met by the old oak that marked the field's edge. No words at first, just arms wrapping, kisses hungry and urgent, the grass cool beneath us as we lay tangled. We talked then, really talked, his terror of disappointing his dad, my ache for a family that saw me whole. "I want to tell the world," he confessed, tracing patterns on my chest. "But what if it breaks everything?" "Then we rebuild," I said, fierce. "Together." Felt like a vow. For 2 weeks we carved out stolen moments. Dawn runs where our strides synced like heartbeats. Notes slipped into lockers with inside jokes. The team sensed a shift. Brody ribbed Jake less, even invited me to a kegger. I started dreaming of more. Walking hand in hand at prom, Jake's jersey draped over my shoulders at graduation. But dreams crack under pressure. It started with a whisper. During film study, Coach paused the tape, eyes narrowing at a clip of Jake and me celebrating a good play. Too close, too lingering. "Harlan," he growled after, pulling his son aside. I didn't hear the words, but Jake's face when he emerged was ashen, shoulders slumped. That night, he didn't show at the Oak. I waited until midnight, phone silent, worry gnawing like a bad hit. The next day, he cornered me in the hall, voice clipped. "We can't. Not anymore." "What?" The word choked out, raw. "Dad knows. Or suspects," he said. "He'd bench me. Ruin my shot at state. And you? He'd make sure you never touch a field here." Betrayal hit like a gut punch. "So that's it? We were just a phase." "No." His eyes stormy, pleaded. "It's not you. It's this place. It chews up anything different." "Different?" I laughed, bitter. "I'm not different, Jake. I'm me. And I thought you were too." He reached for my arm, but I jerked away. The bell rang, swallowing his apology. Days blurred into a cold war. Stolen glances turned to averted eyes, our secret poisoned. The team felt it. Practices grew tense, passes wild. I threw myself into solo runs, pounding pavement until my lungs burned, trying to outrun the ache. Then came the game. Sectionals against rival Crestwood. The stands buzzed with flannel-clad farmers and cheer moms, the air electric with chili dog grease and desperation. Coach's pregame speech was fire and brimstone. "This is our town. Our fight." Jake nodded mechanically, but his gaze drifted to me on the sidelines. Waterboy duty's my consolation prize. Injury struck at halftime. Brody twisted an ankle on a botched blitz, carted off cursing. Coach scanned the bench, his eyes skipping over me like I was invisible. The score was tied 14-14, Crestwood's defense a brick wall. Desperation clawed at him. "Rivera," he barked finally, thrusting a helmet into my hands. "You're in. Third quarter. Don't screw this up." The field blurred as I jogged out, cleats sinking into turf that felt like quicksand. Whispers rippled from the crowd. "Who's the new guy?" Jake clapped my shoulder pads, his touch electric despite everything. "You've got this, Alex." "Showing." The snap came fast, third and long, clock ticking like a bomb. Jake dropped back, eyes locking on mine through the line. Time slowed. I cut left, feinting right, the world narrowing to his arm cocking back. The ball spiraled perfect, arcing like a promise. I leaped, fingers stretching, and it nestled into my hands like it belonged there. 50 yards downfield, defenders closing, I juked left, spun right. Moves honed in Tucson alleys and dove into the end zone. Touchdown. The stadium erupted, a roar that shook my bones. Teammates mobbed me, helmets clanging. But it was Jake's arms that found me last, lifting me off the ground in a bear hug that pressed our chests together, hearts hammering in sync. "You did it," he breathed into my ear, voice cracking. "You shocked them all." We won 21-14, the town alive with horns and hugs. In the locker room, champagne fizzed, smuggled, no doubt. Slaps on the back raining down. Coach pulled me aside, gruff. "Good hustle, kid. You're on the roster." But it was Jake's quiet "proud of you" that undid me, tears pricking as we changed in the steam. Outside, under sodium lights, he waited by my car. "I'm sorry," he started, but I cut him off with a kiss, fierce, unapologetic, right there in the open lot. A few stragglers hooted, but we didn't care. "No more hiding," I said, pulling back. "Not if you want this." He searched my face, then nodded, resolve hardening. "Ido." "But Dad, we face it together." I took his hand, lacing our fingers. "Or not at all." The drive home was silent, but his thumb traced circles on my skin, a Morse code of maybe. At my door he kissed me slow, like savoring sunset. "Tomorrow," he promised, "we'll talk to him." Dawn brought reckoning. Coach's office smelled of stale coffee and regret. He sat behind his desk, face carved from granite, Jake rigid beside me. "What's this about?" he demanded, eyes flicking between us. Jake swallowed, voice steady. "Dad, Alex and I, we're together. Like really together. And I won't pretend anymore." Silence crashed like a fumble. Coach's jaw worked, color rising. "Son, this town's not ready." "Hell, I'm not." "Then help us be ready," I interjected, heart in my throat. Football taught me teams about more than plays. It's trust, loyalty, love. He stared, then deflated, rubbing his temples. "Love, huh? Never figured you'd pull this card, Harlan." A pause, heavy. "But you're my boy. And Rivera's got grit. Just keep it clean. No scandals." It wasn't acceptance, not fully. A grunt, a nod, the door left ajar. But it was a start. Jake exhaled, grinning like he'd just thrown for six. We did it. We drove out to the lake that afternoon, windows down, radio blasting Dylan. The water shimmered under November sun. Gulls wheeling like scouts. We skipped stones, talked futures. State for him, community college for me. Maybe a life in Columbus where rainbows weren't whispered sins. His hand in mine felt like home, solid and sure. Betrayal had scarred us, but it forged something stronger, truth. In Elmwood, change came slow as harvest moon, but ripples spread. Brody cornered me at the diner next week. "Heard about you and QB. Weird, but whatever floats your boat, man." A shrug, then a beer offered. Progress. Graduation came in a blur of caps and gowns. Jake's valedictorian speech weaving tales of underdogs and hidden strengths. He looked at me from the podium, eyes shining. Sometimes the new guy shocks us all. Reminds us we're more than the roles we play. We left town that summer. His scholarship pulling us east, my duffel lighter with hope. The oak by the field stands still, I bet, whispering to the wind about boys who dared. And in quiet moments when doubt creeps, I remember that spiral, the one that changed everything. Because love, real love, isn't a game you win or lose. It's the shock that wakes you up, the team you choose, the life you run toward, full tilt. The summer after that game stretched like taffy, sweet and sticky, pulling Jake and me into a rhythm we'd only dreamed of in stolen whispers. Columbus welcomed us with brick-lined streets and coffee shops where rainbow flags fluttered unapologetically from lampposts. Jake's dorm at Ohio State was a chaotic nest of posters and protein shakes, but it became our sanctuary, late nights tangled in twin sheets, debating philosophy between kisses that tasted like independence. "This is it, Alex," he'd murmur, tracing the scar on my knee from a childhood wipeout. "No more hiding." I enrolled at Columbus State, chasing a degree in sports management, the kind of practical dream that paid bills while feeding my soul. Mornings I jogged the Scioto Mile, the river glittering like fool's gold under dawn light, replaying that touchdown in my mind, not for the glory but for the way Jake's eyes had locked on mine, trusting, alive. Afternoons were his. Weight room grunts and film sessions, but evenings? Evenings were ours. We'd hit dive bars with sticky floors and open mics, where he'd belt out off-key Springsteen and I'd cheer louder than any crowd. But Elmwood's shadow lingered, a low hum beneath the buzz. Letters from Coach arrived monthly, stiff envelopes with clipped updates. Teams 3-1. Miss your speed, kid. No mention of US, of course. Jake's responses were polite, evasive, but I saw the toll in the way he'd stare at his phone after calls home, jaw tight. "He asks about you," he'd say, forcing a smile. "Says you're family now." Family. The word warmed me, but it chafed too, like a jersey grown too small. My own dad, buried in overtime at the plant, sent care packages of green chili mix and faded photos. His notes scrawled in block letters. "Proud Mijo. Make it count." He knew about Jake. Awkward FaceTime confessions over tamales one Christmas, but love from afar felt fragile, like tissue paper in a storm. Fall brought football fever. The Buckeye faithful painting the horseshoe in scarlet and gray. Jake redshirted his freshman year, chafing at the bench but soaking up plays like a sponge. I tagged along to practices, clipboard in hand for the equipment crew, stealing glances as he drilled routes with veterans who towered like oaks. One crisp October Saturday, after a scrimmage that left him bruised but buzzing, we escaped to the Olentangy Trail. Leaves crunched underfoot, the air sharp with wood smoke. "You were unstoppable out there," I said, bumping his shoulder. He grinned, slinging an arm around me, pulling me close as we walked. "Unstoppable with you watching. Always have been." His lips brushed my temple, casual now, public. A small victory that still sent sparks skittering down my spine. We paused at a bench overlooking the river, backs against the chill. "Ever think about going back?" he asked, voice soft. "To Elmwood, I mean. For a game." The question hung laced with what-ifs. "Sometimes. To show him we're still standing." I turned, cupping his face. "But mostly I'm glad we're here. Building something new." He kissed me then, slow and deep, the world fading to the lap of water and the rustle of wind. It was moments like these that patched the cracks. Reminders that betrayals sting dulled with time, replaced by the steady burn of us. Winter hit hard, snow blanketing the city in hush. Holiday break pulled us back to Ohio's heartland. The drive a gauntlet of flatlands and family expectations. Elmwood glittered with tacky lights, the town square a carousel of nostalgia. Dad enveloped me in a bear hug at the door, his calloused hands smelling of motor oil. "Looking strong, son. State's treating you right." "Couldn't be better." I glanced at Jake unloading bags from the truck, his breath fogging in the cold. Dad followed my gaze, nodding approval. "Brought the whole team, eh?" Jake's house was a different beast. Sprawling rancher with coach's trophies gleaming like sentinels. Dinner was roast beef and strained silences, Mrs. Harlan, the stepmom who'd stuck around, fluttering with small talk about her garden club. Coach dominated the table, dissecting Buckeye highlights with surgical precision. "Heard you're sitting pretty, son. Smart move, build the arm." Jake nodded, fork scraping plate. "Learning a lot, Dad. Alex helps, spots my footwork." Coach's eyes flicked to me, appraising. "Rivera. Keeping him honest." "Always," I said, meeting his stare. The air thickened, old tensions simmering. After pie, as Jake and I cleared dishes, Coach cornered us in the kitchen. "This thing between you boys." He gestured vaguely, face creased. "It's quiet here. Folks talk less if you keep it that way." Jake's shoulders stiffened. "Dad, I'm not blind," Coach cut in, softer than I'd heard. "Just protecting what's mine. You understand." We nodded, but the drive to my dad's that night was heavy. "He's trying," Jake said finally, hand on my thigh. "In his way." "Yeah." I squeezed his fingers. "But we're not going back." Christmas morning dawned white, the world muffled. We exchanged gifts in my cramped bedroom, me a leather-bound journal for his play sketches. Him a silver chain with a tiny football pendant, engraved "Shock the World." "For the new guy who changed everything," he whispered, fastening it around my neck. Our lovemaking was gentle, reverent, bodies moving like a well-practiced route, exploring, affirming, sealing promises in sweat and sighs. But peace fractured on New Year's. A call from Brody, slurred and urgent. "Harlan, man, get back. Coach collapsed, heart thing. Hospital." We flew south, tires chewing highway, dread coiling tight. The ER waiting room smelled of bleach and despair, fluorescent buzz mocking holiday cheer. Coach lay pale in a bed, tubes snaking like accusations, but his eyes sharpened when we entered. "Boys," he rasped, voice a gravel whisper. Jake gripped the rail, knuckles white. "Dad, what happened?" "Stress. Docs say rest." A cough then. Should have listened sooner. I hung back, but he beckoned. "Rivera. Seat." I perched on the edge, heart pounding. "Sir. You saved that game. Saved more, maybe." His hand, veined and trembling, patted mine. "Jake's lucky. Don't let him forget." Tears stung. "Won't." Recovery was slow, a parade of Jell-O cups and physical therapy. We stayed through January, tag teaming visits, Me cooking tamales that filled the house with spice and stories. Coach thawed by degrees, gruff jokes about my fancy footwork, questions about Columbus life. One night, over poker, his idea, he dealt me in fully. This family, he said, sliding chips my way. It's bigger now. It was the closest to absolution we'd get. Spring bloom tentative, crocuses pushing through snow like hope. Back in Columbus, Jake threw his first varsity pass. A wobbly spiral in a spring game that drew polite applause. I hooped from the stands, chain glinting under my shirt. After, in the parking garage, he pinned me against the truck, kissing with the ferocity of reclaimed time. You're my lucky charm, Alex. Always. Summer internships pulled us apart. Me shadowing trainers at a rec center. Him coaching clinics for Buckeye hopefuls. Texts flew like passes. Heart emojis at dawn, voice notes laced with miss you under late-night stars. Reunion was fireworks, literally 4th of July on the banks, explosions mirroring the spark when we collided. But undercurrents stirred. A teammate, Marcus, cornered Jake after a pickup game. That Rivera dude your roommate or what? The word hung probing. Jake brushed it off but doubt seeded. They're not like Elmwood, he assured me later, over pizza on our balcony. But still. Still what? Pressed fork paused. Still scary. Wondering if I'm enough, if we are. I set down the slice, reaching across. You're everything. We're the shock they never saw coming. He smiled but it wobbled. Fall semester loomed, crisp with possibility and peril. The Buckeyes opener packed the stadium. 100,000 strong chanting OHIO. Jake started as third string, but a starter's hamstring tweak mid-second quarter thrust him in. I gripped the rail from the family section, breath held as he took the snap. The play unfolded in agony. Pressure from the blind side, Jake scrambling, eyes scanning. He spotted his receiver, slipped the ball, a dart that threaded the needle. Completion. First down. The crowd surged and so did my pride, chest swelling. Halftime, he texted. Nailed it. Thinking of you. We won 28-17, post-game chaos, a blur of high fives and media scrums. In the underbelly tunnels, sweat slick and euphoric, he found me. Your turn next season, he panted, pulling me into a shadowed alcove. Our kiss was salt and victory, hands roaming with the recklessness of youth. Yet as leaves turned, so did whispers. A tabloid snippet online. Buckeye QB's mystery man? With a blurry photo of us at a cafe, hands linked. Jake laughed it off, but his scrolls grew longer, face paling at comments. Distraction. Scandal waiting. It's noise, I said, curling against him that night. Focus on the field. He nodded, but sleep evaded him, body tense beside mine. Winter break brought Elmwood again. Snow deeper, secrets heavier. Coach, fitter now, hosted a watch party for the Rose Bowl. The living room thrummed with kin. Uncles in recliners, cousins tossing popcorn. When Jake's face flashed on screen, cheers erupted. That's my boy. Coach boomed, clapping my back hard enough to rattle ribs. Halftime, he pulled us onto the porch, breath clouding. Saw the article. Town's buzzing. Jake stiffened. Dad. Listen. Coach lit a cigar, puffing slow. Back in '82 I had a teammate good as gold, but different. Folks ran him out. Regret it every day. He met our eyes steady. Don't let him run you. Standteil. It was permission, profound as any play. Jake hugged him fierce, tears freezing on lashes. Thanks, Dad. Back inside, the game resumed, but our world had shifted. Alliances redrawn, fears confronted. Spring training ramped intensity, Jake's arm a rifle, my studies a grind. We navigated it laced with laughter. Botched recipes exploding in the kitchen. Road trips to Cleveland for Cavs games, where we'd steal courtside kisses amid the roar. But the article festered, morphing into rumors. Teammates side-eyeing. A coach's pointed focus on football, Harlan. Climax brewed in April, a charity scrimmage against alums. Jake started, lasers flying, until a late hit jarred his shoulder. He hit the turf hard, clutching, medics swarming. I vaulted the barrier, heart in throat, pushing through to his side. Easy, babe, I whispered, cradling his head as they taped. His eyes, pain-glazed, found mine. You okay? Better now. A weak grin. The doc cleared him, strain not tear, but the hit lingered. That night, ice packs and ibuprofen he broke. What if it's over? The dream us, everything because of who we are. I gathered him close, voice firm. Then we rewrite the play. You're not alone, Jake. Never again. He clung, sobs muffled in my shirt. The boy who'd shocked a town, now vulnerable, human. Dawn brought resolve. We talked strategy, counseling through the athletic department, coming out on his terms. Together, he echoed, kissing my palm. Summer sealed it. A feature in the Lantern. Buckeye Love, Jake Harlan's journey. Hit stands, photo of us arm in arm on the oval. Backlash hissed online, but support flooded. Letters from alums, hugs from teammates. Marcus clapped Jake's back. About time, man. Your family. Elmwood's paper ran a follow-up, coach quoted. Proud of my son. Always. As fall kicked off, Jake's starts solidified. Each snap a statement. I cheered from stands, chain winking, our story etched in every cheer. Betrayal's ghost faded, replaced by grace. The humanistic truth that love, once shocked into light, endures. Sophomore year dawned with a vengeance, the Buckeye bee gleaming like a badge of battles won. Jake's name buzzed in sports bars from Cincinnati to Cleveland, his pocket passes dissected on ESPN segments. I watched it unfold from the wings, my own path steady but shadowed. Internships turning to assistant gigs at local gyms, where I'd coach kids with the same fire that once burned in me. Run it again, I'd bark, echoing Coach Harlan, but with a gentleness born of my scars. Those wide-eyed faces mirroring my younger self reminded me why we'd fought. Not for glory but for space to breathe, to be. Our apartment off High Street became a haven, walls papered with ticket stubs and Polaroids. Us at the fair, cotton candy smeared on cheeks. A rainy hike in Hocking Hills, soaked in laughing. Morning started with coffee brewed strong. Jake's head on my lap as I read aloud from my lit class, his fingers drumming routes on my thigh. You're my anchor, Alex, he'd say, voice husky from sleep. Keeps me from floating away. But anchors drag too. Pressure mounted like storm clouds. Scouts circled Jake like vultures. NFL whispers turning practices to auditions. Pro days in spring. He'd mutter over takeout, eyes distant. Gotta be perfect. You are, I'd counter, but doubt crept, insidious. My own insecurities gnawed. Classes piling up. A paper on identity in American sports that hit too close, forcing midnight confessions. Am I holding you back? The mystery man label. He'd pull me close, fierce. You're the reason I push. Don't ever doubt that. Fall's schedule was brutal. Road games stacking like dominoes. I traveled when I could, squeezing into budget seats, heart in mouth as he dropped back under Friday night lights on steroids. One Michigan night in the big house's roar, he threaded a 40-yard bomb for the win. The stadium's hail to the victors, twisting into our triumph. Post-game in a hotel hallway lined with champagne flutes, he swept me up. For you always. Yet cracks spiderwebbed. A locker room incident. Taunt from a rival. Fairy footwork, Harlan? Left him withdrawn, bruises blooming on ribs from overcompensating hits. It's nothing, he'd insist, but therapy sessions, mandated after the article, unearthed roots. Coach's old-school machismo, Elmwood's echo chamber. I fear losing it all, he admitted one session I sat in on, voice small. The game, you, myself. The counselor's words lingered. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's your superpower. Winter break was a bomb, Ohio's chill wrapping us in nostalgia. Back in Elmwood, the fields lay dormant under frost, but the community center buzzed with a youth clinic Jake headlined. I assisted, demoing agility drills to a gaggle of tweens, their energy a tonic. One kid, shy with braces and a stutter, hung back. Can I try? He asked, eyes on me. Absolutely. I knelt, adjusting his stance. It's not about perfect. It's about heart. He nailed the cut, beaming. Later, Jake sidled up. You're good with them. Natural. Like you, I replied, bumping hips. That night at Coach's for New Year's, the house felt fuller, stepmom's pie, uncle's tall tales. Coach pulled Jake aside for man talk, but emerged clapping both our shoulders. Heard about the pros. Make us proud. No qualifiers. Just pride. Spring pro day was a circus. Agents in suits, stopwatches ticking like doomsdays. Jake measured 6 feet 3 inches, 220, his 40-yard dash a blur at 4.6. The throws? Poetry. Deep balls soaring 60 yards, spirals tight as promises. Scouts nodded, cards exchanged. I watched from bleachers, chain clutched, whispering prayers to whatever gods watched over underdogs. Offers trickled. Mid-round projections, team visits to Dallas, Seattle. It's real, he breathed that night, pacing our living room. But what if I flop? What if they see through me? I stopped him, hands on hips. They see a star. And off-field? That's us. Unbreakable. Graduation loomed for me. Associates in hand, job offers at OSU's rec department. Ceremony was a whirlwind. Mortarboard sailing, pomp and circumstance swelling. Jake hooped from the crowd, flowers in fist, sweeping me into a spin post stage. My scholar, he teased, kissing under oak shade. But elation soured quick. A draft party invite from an agent, glitzy LA bound. Great exposure, Jake said, but hesitation laced his tone. You in? The flight was champagne smooth, palm trees a shock after Midwest gray. The party glittered. Celebs air kissing, NFL brass schmoozing. Jake shone, charm dialed high, but I felt adrift, the token +1 questions veiled as compliments. So you're the one keeping our QB grounded? Midnight, on a balcony overlooking sprawl. He found me nursing a soda. You okay? Honest? Overwhelmed. This world's shiny but sharp. He pulled me close, city lights haloing us. Then we navigate it together. Like always. Dawn brought a curveball. A scout from the Cowboys pulling Jake aside. We like you, kid. But off-field noise, tone it down. League's conservative. The words landed like frostbite. Drive home was terse, LA's glamour fading to rearview regret. It's business, Jake rationalized, but sleep fled, nightmares of benches and breakups. Summer simmered tensions. I started at OSU wrangling intramurals with verve while Jake trained maniacally, Dawn lifts, film marathons. Distance yawned, he'd cancel dinners for extra reps. Text curt. Sorry late. One July evening post-shift I found the apartment empty. Note. Jim. Love you. Fridge hummed accusation. I scrolled his phone, borrowed innocent, heart sinking at DMs, teammate banter, then a thread with an old Elmwood contact. Miss the simple days, bro. No drama. Betrayal revisited, sharper. When he stumbled in at 2 a.m. sweat sheened, I waited, arms crossed. What's going on, Jake? Nothing. Exhausted. The messages. Simple days? Is that us drama? He deflated, sinking to the couch. It's the pressure. Drafts everything. And yes, scared. Of failing you us. By pulling away? Tears hot. We promised together. I know. He reached but I stepped back. Give me space to figure it. Space. The word echoed a chasm. Days blurred. Polite cohabitation, my shifts a refuge, his absences a void. Therapy solo now, I unpacked resentment. The new kid still chasing approval. You're enough, the counselor echoed. But he has to choose. August scorched, draft eve a pressure cooker. Jake's mock projections climb second round, maybe first. Party at coach's, screens tuned to ESPN. Tension crackled, he paced, I nursed a beer in the kitchen. Coach found me. Talk to him, son. Bottles break. Halftime of the broadcast, name called. With the 28th pick, Dallas Cowboys select Jake Harlan, quarterback, Ohio State. Roars erupted, hugs crushing. But his eyes searched for me, apology raw. On the porch amid fireworks he knelt. Not proposal but plea. I screwed up. The pullback, it was fear, not you. Marry this life with me? All in. I pulled him up, kissing through tears. All in. But no more spaces. We're the team. Fall reset. Dallas beckoning post-draft. We packed the apartment, boxes labeled us. Driving cross-country in a U-Haul symphony of playlists and pit stops. Texas heat welcomed. Cowboys facility a mecca of turf and tech. Jake's rookie camp was grind. Hazing laughs masking hierarchy. But he thrived, arm a weapon, spirit buoyed by nightly debriefs. Me rubbing knots from his back, whispering you've got this. Off-field, challenges mounted. Dallas media probed. How's the personal life, Harlan? He'd grin, arm around me at events. Best support in the league. Backlash simmered. Fan tweets venomous, a sponsor waffling, but allies emerged. Veteran QBs sharing stories. League's inclusion push gaining traction. Thanksgiving in Ohio bridged worlds. Coach's table groaning. Dad's stories blending with stepmom's pies. Toasts rang. To shocks that stick. Jake's hand under the table steady. Winter games under dome lights were epics. Comebacks scripted, his poise a testament. A Monday night win over Philly, fourth quarter magic, had him MVP chatter. Post-game in locker room glow, teammates doused him chants of Harlan. Harlan. I waited outside, chain twin to his now, matching engraved, pulling him into shadows for a victory kiss that tasted of sweat and forever. But humanity's arc bends slow. A road loss to Green Bay, pick-six sealing defeat, left him gutted, presser clipped. Tough one, boys. Hotel room, he shattered. Not good enough. I held him through dawn, recounting our shocks. Elmwood Field, Ohio State spiral draft stage. You're the story, Jake. Not the score. Spring minicamp brought renewal. Otis a dance of precision. We bought a condo in uptown, views of skyline. Kitchen for my experimental enchiladas. Life layered. His rookie ball, my remote coaching certs. Weekends volunteering at LGBTQ youth sports leagues. One clinic a teen approached tentative. Saw your story. Gave me courage to try out. Jake, overhearing, ruffled the kid's hair. Shock him then. Summer tour, charities, camps, cemented legacies. Elmwood visit, fields alive with prospects. Coach beaming as Jake demoed throws. Full circle, he said, arm around me, crowd unfazed. Fall championship push, tested metal. Playoffs loomed, stakes stratosphere. A divisional nail-biter, Jake's game winner. A scrambling heave to the corner sealed it. Confetti rained, but his first hug was mine, mic'd up. For my rock, Alex. Couldn't without you. Super Bowl berth clinched, Houston's lights our stage. Pre-game whirl. Ads, interviews, nerves electric. I stood sidelines, headset on, guest analyst gig. Heart sinking to his pre-snap cadence. Kickoff blurred, drives ebbing, hits crunching. Halftime tied, locker pep raw. Jake's eyes met mine through glass, trust. Overtime miracle. Fourth and goal, defense blitzing. He rolled out, pressure mounting, spotted his receiver, threaded it, toe in bounds. Touchdown. 31-28. Stadium quaked, trophy gleam surreal. On field, amid mayhem, he found me lifting in spin. We shocked the world. Kiss cam caught it, broadcast to millions, tender, triumphant. Backlash buzzed, but cheers drowned it. League commissioner handshake, fans chanting names entwined. Aftermath. Parade floats, ring-sized, life recalibrated. We honeymooned in Tucson, cactus blooms. Mom's grave visited with stories shared. Back home, routines rooted. His contract extension, my youth foundation launch. Years folded. Retirements whispered by 30, coaching stints. A house with yard for future dreams. Adoptions pondered, family grown. Elmwood reunions, fields trod by new newbies, our tale legend. The shock that bloomed love. In quiet evenings, porch swings creaking. Jake's head on my shoulder. I'd trace his ring. Worth every hit. Every one. Geschäft. And the heels. Humanity, we learn, thrives in shocks, betrayals mended. Conflicts forged to strength. Ours a romance etched in turf and tears proved. Love's the ultimate play, called from the heart. The Super Bowl glow lingered like aftershave, sharp and seductive, but reality's razor followed swift. Dallas mornings dawned with endorsement deals. Jake hawking protein shakes on billboards. Me navigating media requests for the couple that conquered. Our foundation, Shockwave Youth, bloomed. Clinics in underserved hoods, blending football drills with identity workshops. I'd lead sessions on resilience, voice steady. Fields level dreams, but heart wins games. Kids nodded, eyes wide, mirrors of my Elmwood isolation. Finding echoes in Jake's guest spots, his stories disarming doubts. But fame's underbelly gnawed. Paparazzi staked our condo, flashes popping like bad tackles. A tabloid scoop, fabricated fling rumor. Hit checkout stands, Jake's agent fielding furious calls. PR nightmare. He grumbled over steak at a secluded ranch. Tone down the PDs? Jake's fork clattered. No. We're not props. I squeezed his knee under table, pulse racing. Agreed. But boundaries may be a gate. Compromise. Private security, vetted events. Yet strain seeped. His off-season workouts amped. Personal trainers barking, sessions stretching to dusk. I'd wait with dinners cooling, texts unanswered. Lost track. He'd apologize, kissing foreheads. Love you more. I nodded, but resentment simmered. Echoes of that pre-draft drift. Therapy resumed tandem now. Unpacking celebrity's cage. Fame amplifies fears, our counselor noted. What do you fear most? Losing us, we chorused, hands clasped. Fall camp reconvened the grind, rookies eyeing Jake's throne. He mentored, arm loose, but a preseason stinger neck tweak sidelined him a week. Bench feels like exile, he confessed, icing in our media room. Rest builds comebacks, I countered, massaging knots. Like us. Regular season kicked ferocious. Primetime Thursdays, Sunday slates stacking bruises. A London jaunt, Cowboys versus Jaguars. Thrust us transatlantic, jet lag a thief. Wembley roared American. Jake's 300-yard dagger sealing victory. Post-game, pub crawl with team, pints flowing, his arm casual around me. A fan approached, beer bold. Y'all make it look easy. How? Doesn't, Jake laughed. But worth it. Back stateside, holidays hybrid. Dallas tree trimming with teammates, Ohio flight for Harlan feast. Coach, graying but spry, grilled Jake on schemes. Dad bonded over Cowboys watch, tamales steaming. Mi familia, he toasted, eyes misty. Acceptance hard won, fully bloomed. New Year brought pivot. Adoption inquiry. Papers filed for a sibling pair, boy and girl, foster system vets, ages 8 and 10. Home study loomed, nerves electric. Think we're ready? Jake asked, pacing nursery to be, walls paint fresh blue. Scared? Yeah, but shocked the world once. I pulled him down, blueprints spread. We'll shock parenthood too. Spring training thawed tensions, but a curveball arced. Trade rumors, Cowboys shopping depth. Cap space, agents murmured. Jake's face stormed. After all this? We hunkered, family meetings, foundation galas for levity. A youth event in LA, kids from Skid Row gripping balls like lifelines. Jake demoing spirals, me facilitating talks. One girl, braids fierce, cornered us. Saw your bowl kiss. Made me tell mom I'm gay. She hugged me. Jake knelt, voice thick. Brave as hell. Keep throwing. That night, hotel balcony, city hum below, he turned. This is why. Approval came midsummer. Foster to adopt greenlit. Luca and Mia arrived in August, suitcases small, eyes wary. First day's chaos, spaghetti wars, bedtime battles. But Jake's patience shone. Bedtime stories in quarterback cadence. I'd catch him braiding Mia's hair, Luca on his lap for film, heart swelling. Dad. The boy tested one dawn, tentative. Jake froze, then grinned. Yeah, buddy. Dad. Fall integrated frenzy. School runs meshing with morning skates. Nannies bridging gaps. Opener against Giants, kids in mini jerseys cheering from suite. Jake's pregame snap to me. Family huddle. He torched secondary, 350 yards, 2 scores. Halftime text. For our team. Mid-season bye, we escaped to Arizona. Cactus retreat, Grand Canyon off for the kids. Trails wound, Luca's hand in mine, Mia's giggles echoing. Evenings by fire, Jake strumming guitar, new hobby. Songs weaving our saga. Remember Elmwood? He murmured, kids asleep intent. Like yesterday. Kiss slow. Best shock ever. Trade deadline passed silent. Loyalty rewarded. Thanksgiving potluck at the facility. Lineman devouring my mole, coach FaceTiming toasts. Dynasty brewing, he crowed. December gauntlet tested. Playoff push, defenses stacking. A snow bowl in Foxborough, flurries blinding. Jake's frozen ropes piercing gales for OT heroics. Post-win, huddling with kids bundled, his eyes gleamed. Family fuels. Conference championship. AT&T Cauldron. Opponent Rams blitz happy. Jake absorbed sacks, rib tender but orchestrated drive. Screen to back, bootleg strike. Field goal as time expired, bowl bound again. Prep whirlwind. Miami Sun script memorizing. Kids thrived in beach camps, Luca tackling waves. Mia collecting shells for QB trophies. Media day, Mike swarming. Harlan on legacy? He grinned, arm around me, kids flanking. It's them. The shocks we share. Game night, Hard Rock pulsed. Halftime nodded, defenses dominant. Third quarter interception, Jake's tipped pass. Crowd hushed. He jogged off, helmet hiding grimace. Trainer tent, separated rib confirmed. Out, Doc ruled. Sidelines, I gripped his hand, voice steady. Backup's got it. You built this. He nodded, pain veiled. Win for us. Rookie stepped up, poised, Jake's drills ping. Final drive, 98 yards. Slants, draws, heave to end zone. Catch. Game over, 20-17. Field storm, confetti, anarchy, Jake's limp masking joy. Kids mobbed, Luca's daddy won. Piercing roar. Trophy lift, his whisper. Our shock. Off-season healed, rehab swims. Family RV loop through Rockies. Aspen snowmen, Yellowstone geysers, bonds deepening. Luca opened. Missed having dads. Mia drew us as superheroes, capes football shaped. Fall three-peat chase. Vets retiring, Jake anchoring. A rookie phenom, mentored shadows, echoed our start. Thanks for the shot, kid said. Jake clapped back. Earned it. Mid-season foundation gala. Stars auctioning jerseys, proceeds soaring. A surprise, Elmwood High dedicating Harlan Rivera Field. Plaque reading shocked the ordinary. Tears flowed, we spoke, hands linked. From rejects to role models. Love levels fields. Winter playoffs peaked. Divisional thriller, wild card upset. Championship rematch, Jake's ribs scarred but strong. Game-sealing pick returned for score. Super Bowl III Vegas glitz. Halftime show thumped. Kids dazzled backstage. Kickoff frenzy. Turnovers traded, score ping-ponging. Fourth quarter down 3, 2-minute warning. Jake's huddle. Our play. Shock time. No huddle magic. Audibles called, receivers ghosting coverage. 52-yard bomb, tiptoe sideline caught. Spike timeout. Final snap. Rollout, pump fake, dart to corner. Fadeaway grab, toe drag. End zone. Uproar eternal. Rings exchanged, parade floats, kid crowded. Retirement whispers grew, shoulder wear, family pull. One more, he asked off-season beach. Whatever the play calls. Kiss salted by waves. Years cascaded. Coaching U Foundation Empire, kids college bound. Luca quarterbacked at OSU. Mia advocacy major. Grandkids toddled fields, tiny cleats. Elmwood reunions, coach's chair empty, peaceful pass 45. But spirit lingered. Porch tales, Jake's hand gnarled but sure. Best game ever. Ours, the endless shock. Love's dramatic arc. Humanistic heart. Romantic forever. Decades turn brought silver threads to Jake's temples. Laugh lines etching maps of mirth and metal. Retirement suited him. Analyst booth for Fox, voice booming breakdowns with that quarterback gravitas. Me beside in pregame segments, our banter a fan favorite. Alex, you spotting flaws from the cheap seats? Only yours, babe. Chuckles rippled, normalizing the once novel. Shockwave flourished, chapters in 10 cities. Inclusive leagues where queer kids quarterbacked without qualms, curricula blending plays with pride. I'd keynote voice honed, sports teach shock, the unexpected that redefines. Applause thundered but backstage Jake's hug grounded. Still my MVP. Kids anchored adulthood. Luca, OSU alum scouted for the Browns. Irony-rich Ohio roots deep. His wedding lakeside, Jake walked him down, tears unchecked. Proud son. Like your old man. Mia, grad school firebrand, founded policy pushes for trans athletes. Her toast at our vow renewal, 10th anniversary. Vegas whim, you shocked us into strength. Grandkids 3 rowdy, turned our Dallas spread into chaos central. Pigskin tosses in the yard, bedtime please for Papa Jake's bull story. I'd embellish. And then the new kid caught the ghost ball. Giggles peeled, their innocence bombed to our battled scars. But time's tackle sneaks. Jake's shoulder, that veteran warhorse, ached in rains, therapy tub stem cells whispered. Old bones, he'd joke, but doc visits darkened. Arthritis creeping, scan spotting shadows. Nothing dire, specialist soothed. Manage it. We managed yoga duets, hikes slowed to saunters. A Europe jaunt, 50th birthdays entwined. Coliseum echoes, sang cruises, hands linked eternal. Paris nights, Eiffel glow, he murmured. If life's a game, you're the overtime win. Back home, Elmwood pilgrimage. Field renamed, statue unveiled. 2 figures mid-embrace, ball spiraling heavenward. Dedication crowd swelled. Ex-teammates grizzled, coach's widow beaming. Brody, paunchy but warm, clapped backs. You boys started it. Shocked the hell outta us. Speech duo, Jake's eloquence my fire. From forbidden to forever, loves the play that sticks. Fall brought phantom pains, Jake's throws to grandkids wincing. Winter checkup chilled. Early markers. Prostate. Biopsy loom dread a blindside. Waiting room hands clasped memories montage. Elmwood kiss bowl confetti kids first steps. Whatever the call, I vowed, we run it. Benign. Relief tsunami tears toasts tighter holds. Dodged that hit, he breathed nuzzling. Spring renewal foundation summit global reach. A Berlin clinic rainbow flags on goalposts. Teens sharing. Your story our playbook. Jake teared arm around me. Legacy's the real trophy. Summer scorched but we cooled in Aspen cabins casts for fly fishing Lucas twins splashing creeks. Evenings fire pit philosophies. Regrets. I asked embers dying. None. You. Zero. Shocked into bliss. Fall 60s beckoned. Hall of Fame nod for Jake, Canton induction a spectacle. Gold jacket draped speech searing. Grateful for the field, and the man who ran it with me. Applause ovation my seat front row chain twin glinting. Post-ceremony gala stars orbiting but we slipped out truck to fields lying under stars like that oak night. Full circle, he sighed. Endless loop. Gish starlit. Winter whispered frailty. Jake's gait hitched, falls chalk to clumsy. Neurologist. Early Parkinson's. Manageable. Shock revisited not dramatic but deep. PT regimens voice softening but spirit unbowed. Still calling plays. He'd quip hand trembling on mine. We adapted. Adaptive sports for him me shadowing volleyball mods his coach hat jaunty. Grandkids adapted seamless. Tea parties with Papa's wobbly arm jokes. Spring bloom defiant. Vow renewal redux backyard kids officiating. Vows refreshed. In shocks and stills forever teamed. Summer sail gentle. Road trip echoes Route 66 rambles diner pies, ghost stories of our ghosts. Fall 60s plus. Hall speeches replayed foundation endowed. A documentary. Shockwave, a love in play. Premiered Sundance raw reels of Elmwood raw to bowl glory. Q&A director probed. The betrayal? Jake Mike steady-ish fuel. Turned pain to power. Winter waned vigor. Wheelchair days but wit sharp. Bedside vigils my stories his sustenance. Remember Brody's fumble face? Chuckles rasped. Classic. Spring 65. Cherry blossoms but breaths labored. Hospice hushed home, family orbiting. Lucas hand in his. Love you, Dad. Mia esse poems recited. Grandkids drawings taped walls. One dawn sun slanting gold he squeezed my hand firm final. Best. Shock. Ever. Wait for me. I whispered kiss forehead. He slipped gentle field to forever. Grief's game grinds. Empty jerseys silent stands. But legacy lives foundation thriving kids carrying torch. Fields named in whispers. Years solo, ish travels with family, shockwave helm passed but consulted. Porch sunsets chain clutched I'd murmur to wines. Miss your arm around. 80 found me reflective. Memoir penned shocked awake. Tales unvarnished, love's arc humanistic. No tidy bows but truths enduring. Elmwood finale. Reunion on our field, sunset scrimmage, ghosts gathering. I tossed a soft spiral to Luca crowd hushed. For Jake. Catch clean. Cheers swelled eternal. Life's no final score. It's the shocks that scar and sing betrayals to bonds, romances to reckonings. Ours a gay American epic, dramatic dives, thrilling throws, emotional ends, romantic runs, humanistic huddles. In every new kid's stance I see him, eyes locked calling, Hut! And I run.